Okay, Jamie, thanks for being here. We're going to talk about the idea of being able to explain the 4 MREA models within 20 minutes. That if someone was interested in finding out more about Keller Williams or the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, you'd be able to say, this is the basic concept of everything that we're looking to do at Keller Williams. And so when we start about this, we say the key areas are four models that lead one to the next. Foundational principles. A lesson from Warren Buffett. The models matter. Why do you think models matter? That's right. Does it take longer and you're not really knowing whether it's going to work when you invent that wheel yourself? Sure. That's true. So the idea is the models and having the right model is what matters. And a true model is something that no matter who does it, it works. Otherwise, it's just someone that's really good at what they do. A model is, no matter who does it, follow the steps, it works. You put this many ingredients in, you get a cake, no matter who makes it. And they say read the MREA book 12 times because it's hard to really get into understanding it for yourself until you're really into it. So the first model that we start with is the economic model. The concept of the economic model is focusing on the numbers you need to hit. Real estate, in essence, is a numbers game. If you know your conversion rates, you can figure out with mathematical certainty how many deals you can close and make the money you want to make. Then it's focusing on the appointments. It's not about closings and pendings. It's about the appointments. Because we know that without the appointments, you're never going to have a closing. It just never happens. So you don't need to focus on the end result. It's lead measures versus lag measures, which is 4 disciplines of execution from Franklin Covey. Focus on what you can control. You can control whether you go on appointments. And the last one is focusing on your conversion rates. Knowing exactly for you when you go on an appointment or you make a call or you get a house under contract, how many times when you do it does it actually finish and go to fruition? So knowing your conversion rates. You can use conversion rates from everyone else, but that won't really make the difference. Knowing yours is the key to the economic model. So when we look through this, we look at what's called the regression analysis. Basically, to start from the end and say, how much money do we want to make? And then let's work it all the way back to how many deals we need to close, all the way back to how many appointments do I need to go on to make the money I want to make. Now, when the MREA says, when you're trying to figure this out, you look at your net income, and your net income is how much I want to take home. We add our expenses onto that, and we come up with our gross commission income. Now, when we look at our gross commission income, we want to break that out between buyers and sellers because we service both. Jamie, do you know the percentage between buyers and sellers on your income when you're trying to figure out how you're going to do this?
I used to. I haven't checked lately. I have a spreadsheet that would tell me.
What do you think the model says?
Probably 65-35.
It actually is 50-50. 50-50, 50 buy listings versus 50 buyers. The reason is they're basically saying if you close enough listings, you should be closing enough buyers at the same time. And so we'll always focus on listings. But in reality, you should be able to close 1 buyer as a result of having 1 listing because you should get 2 to 3 leads as a result of every listing. So when they say you're figuring your numbers out, go 50-50. If you're going to get heavy, like you said, get heavy on listings. But most of the time they found if you do the listings, the buyers come. So when we look at our source of business, sellers and buyers, we break this down and we look at the income from those 2 numbers as a result of splitting it in half. So what is the gross commission income from our sellers? Then we divide that by the average commission we get off of a listing. Do you find you have different commissions, buyers versus listings?
Yeah, slightly.
Slightly.
Buyers slightly more.
So in that, what you want to look at is that also helps you look at your numbers. Now, when we look at these numbers, it's telling us something about our business. It's telling us what we need to do. That's really what this model is about. So if we find we have a lower average commission rate on our seller side versus our buyer side, that means we probably want to look at trying to focus on getting higher price listings. Now, if we had a higher price point on our listings and a lower on buyers, it probably means we're not converting the buyers that are calling on our signs at our higher price point. Means we're probably missing opportunity on our sign calls. Now, if we take this average commission rate, we find out if we divide that in, we find out how much volume we need to sell on our selling side. The same thing with our buying side. Divide that by the average price and we get our total listings sold. Okay? Now, when we look at this, that comes up with our number of units we need to sell. If we take a look at that and we know our conversion rate to taking a listing to selling a listing. If we take a listing, how often does it usually sell? When we know that conversion rate, we get down to how many listings do I need to take? The same thing with our buyer. The total buyers sold, how often do we convert them? We know the total number of buyers we need to have under contract. Now, the last one is knowing the conversion rate that when I go on an appointment, how many of those actually turn into actual listings? Or when I talk to a buyer, how many actually go under buyer rep? Knowing your conversion rate allows you to mathematically calculate your net income. Does that make sense? That's the conversion rate, knowing that and understanding that. So let's walk through this for ourselves and let's practice this. So if we look at our net income, what we want to focus on is adding the expenses. Again, tracking our numbers, knowing what our true expenses are. What would you say are the expenses we need to add in are? Admin. Okay, if you have an administrator. So maybe, would that be salaries? Okay, salaries. What else are your expenses in the year? What's something at Keller Williams?
Cap.
Your cap. What else?
Office.
Rent. Okay, what else?
Signs.
Okay, so marketing and supplies. Okay, what else? There's something you have to pay out every year in December. Dues and education for your CE. What else?
Well, taxes, but I'm not sure if that.
No, we'll take that out of our net income. You could add that in there if you'd like to. If you're really trying to get an actual take home, you absolutely could put your taxes in there if you wanted to. Travel, coaching, supplies or gas, cell phone. You come up with all of your expenses for the year and you put them in there, and we're going to subtract that out or add that into our net income so we know how much we need to make. So Jamie, let's take a number. If we're at 200,000, I think we do this on the next slide. So now we go out, source of business, we split it out. We're going to go through this because we went through the conversion rates. Divide those out. Realize I talked this through and I could have had the fun colors and slides. So if we're trying to make $200,000, I want to do this for us. Here, if we're trying to take home $200,000, okay, then we're going to add in our expenses. They estimate about 20%. Let's take a look at ours. We have the cap, which is 18. We've got, let's estimate our annual home association dues are 600 plus CE. Let's say 1,000. Let's say signs at another expenses and supplies. Say another 5. That's $6,000. What else did we have on our list?
Signs wouldn't be that much.
Well, I mean, like all of your expenses, 5,000 for the year. Would you say?
Probably pretty close, not counting admin.
Right. So then salary. What's your salary of your admin?
That alone would be probably 30.
30. Okay. So we're at 1830 for salaries, 5,000 for expenses, 1,000 for dues. Let's throw in another 2,000 just in case. Okay. So 48, 53, 54, 56. So we need $256,000 gross commission income to get where we want to go. Okay, so we've come up with it. Now we want to take a look at doing this gross commission income at a 50-50. Get out your calculator. You'll be my calculator guy. So if we divide this 50-50, how much do we need sellers and how much do we need buyers income? I think we're 128.
We're 50-50.
Yep.
Between 256. 128.
128. So we need 128,000 on each side of gross commission income.
Okay.
So now let's take a look at our sellers. So they're saying that the average commission is 0.27 for what they figured out. If you want to do it that way, if you ever have to cut your commission, you have to do whatever it is. Let's go 0.28. So let's divide this number by 0.28. 0.028, sorry about that. So thinking our average commission is 2.8%. If you divide it by 0.28, what's your number?
45,000.
Nope, I think you multiplied.
You go the other way.
Yep, 128,000 divided by 0.028.
Yeah. That is 4 million.
Nope. You did
You have
it.
to do it the other way. You
Yeah.
have to go-
Well, you do 128,000 divided by 0.028. Divided by 0.028.
You're trying to figure out what exactly.
I'm trying to find out what I actually need to bring in volume.
So you need to do it the other way. So 0.028 divided by 128.
No, I think you just missed a zero. Try one more time. 128,000 divided by 0.028.
So 4 million.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, that's right. 4 million.
4,571,428.
That's the volume.
Oh, that's the volume.
That's the volume. Yep, that's right. That's correct. So that's the volume. Now, so there's our sold volume. What's our average sale price? In Idaho Falls, where in our office it's 170. So let's divide that by 170,000. So do our 4.571428 divided by 170,000. They take this the long way. We could do it divided by our average commission.
27.
27?
26.8.
Okay, 27 units. Fantastic. So we know at that point we need to have 27 sold listings for the year.
Okay.
Okay? So if we have an 80% conversion rate, which means 80% of our listings we take sell, we divide this by 0.8. So 27 divided by 0.8. How many?
34.
So we need to take 34 listings in the year so that we close 27. Okay? If we go on the appointments and our conversion rate is 65% of the appointments we go on, we take the listing, divide this by 0.65, 34 divided by 0.65,
52.
we have to go on 52 appointments in the year to make our numbers. How many months, how many weeks of the year are we going to work? 50?
That's crazy.
Let's do 48.
Yeah, 48.
So if this is weeks, so 52 divided by 48, we could even make it easy. We have to go on, let's divide this by 12 first. How many per month? What's 52 divided by 12?
52 divided by 12 is 4.3.
4.3. If we're going to work, so 4.3, if we're going to work 4 weeks out of that, we're going at basically 1.1. We need to focus on doing 4.3 or 4.5 every month. And so we break it down to the week. Let's just assume we got to go on 2 listing appointments a week. But we got to get 4.3 by the end of the month. Okay? So in this, we know how many appointments we need to go on. So let's do the buyers. So at this point, we need $128,000 in buyers. Our average commission, do you usually cut your buyer's commission? It's usually the listing if you're going to cut anywhere, right? So let's assume we get 3%. So let's divide 128,000 by 0.03. What's our volume when we need in buyers?
66,000.
Even?
Well, not even 666.
This?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So now we need this much volume in buyers. Okay, so we've got 4.266666 for us. Oh, they got all fours. Look at theirs. Nice. So in this, our average sale price is 170. So we divide 4.2666, divide it by 170,000. How many buyers closed do we need by the end of the year? 25. So we need 25 closed. Now our conversion rate is probably a little bit different. This is going to show it the same, but our conversion rate for buyers and sellers sometimes is a little bit different. Most of the buyers get under contract. I would even say that this 80% might be a little less. It depends on how good you're at pricing and talking your sellers into pricing right. 80% of buyers, they go under contract, buyer's rep, are they going to close? Sometimes that's even higher depending on things. So multiply this, divide 25 divided by 0.8 and an 80% conversion rate. How many total buyers do we need to get under contract? 31 buyers under contract. And we have a conversion rate of, we talk to 65% again. 65% of the buyers that say, I'm interested, go under contract. Divide that by 0.65. 48. Divide that by 12. 4. 4 by 4 weeks, that's 1 a week. So I need to get 1.3 appointments a week with sellers, and I need to do 1 appointment a week for buyers. And if these are my true conversion rates, it will lead me to a net of $200,000. I don't have to work on this. Now, if I look at this and I don't track my conversion rates through the year, I may be thinking I'm at these conversion rates and I'm not, or they're better than that, and I don't need to do as many. But mathematically, if we know the conversion rates, we can mathematically figure out how many appointments we just have to go on. And then if we're going on those appointments a week, we're ready to go. That's all we have to do when we focus on the appointment. It seems simple. It seems simple. But what we find out is we think we're going on a load of appointments. But if we just need to get 2 appointments a week, and we find out, oh my word, I'm not even going on 2 appointments a week. Or we find out I'm going on appointments, but I'm not converting them to buyer contracts. That's what we find to watch. And if you start to watch this.
The GCI, I don't have the GCI stuff yet, but that's what the point of that is, right? Tracking that.
Yep. That's the point of the CGI. Yep. CGI wants you to track how many appointments you go on, because Keller Williams will track how many listings you take and how many listings you close. Now, if you don't turn in your buyer's reps, then we don't know that. But once you turn it in that I have a buyer's rep, we could even track how many you take buyers to how many you close. All you have to track is the appointments. CGI should calculate this out to tell you how many you need to go on each week, right? Perfect. So that's the economic model. That is literally the end of it. Through that, you know how that works. Now, we know how many appointments we need to go on, but how do we find the leads to get the appointment? That is the lead gen model. So the economic model leads immediately into the lead gen model. It is called mind share. Basically, I'm going to share my philosophy and my vision with others, and that is what's going to grow my business. The idea is he knows my goal. He knows what I'm trying to do, and we're going to work together. Anybody you know. Mind share of I'm trying to work together. That's the foundational principle of the lead gen model. There's 3 key areas to the lead gen model: prospecting and marketing. What's prospecting versus marketing? Correct. One's time is one money. That's a perfect way to say it. Either you pay for it or you do it. The second is setting up a database and feeding it. What is feeding your database? What does that mean? New people. Putting more people into the box that is your database. And the last one is systematically marketing to the database. This one is interesting that we look at this. These 2 fall short for almost everybody. The teams that do the most business really focus on these 2. Is getting more people into my database and then systematically marketing to the people that I have. That is the money of real estate. Who was it that said? Gary Keller? Somebody said, closings, you make money in real estate in closings but you get rich by follow-up. Truly rich are the people that follow up on their database. The 4 laws of lead generation. You build your database. It's a real thing. You feed it every day, something new into it every single day. You communicate back with it systematically, not just haphazardly, and you service every lead that comes in. There's the money. This is the follow-up. If someone calls, that never gets dropped. They get into the database and they get that question answered. Most of the time we're doing other things, and that's how we drop the leads. That's how we drop the leads. Okay, so here's your 2 difference of prospecting. Here are the types of prospecting you do. Again, it's legwork. And then, of course, there's marketing, which is money-based. Now, in a shifted market, when we're in a shifting market, the shift book says, when you get into a shifted market, you go to prospecting-focused, marketing-enhanced, or completely prospecting. When you're in a market on an upswing, you can go to marketing-focused and prospecting-supported, but otherwise, you should be in prospecting. Now, understanding this, which is interesting, the more we talk about this lead generation model, the more we find out why we're not getting the return that we're getting on our database. The first, this bullseye, you work from the inside out. The center of the bullseye is the highest return, lowest cost. As you move outward, it becomes a lower return, higher cost. Gary Keller says you don't leave the circle until you've mastered the circle. Then you can move to the next outline. The first one, which a lot of agents miss, is the allied resources. Now, allied resources means that it is a business relationship, and this is where we come to the mind share. A business relationship where you share leads with them and they share leads with you through a business focused. It should be a one-to-one weekly face-to-face meeting with someone in your business. Now, how you know if you've accomplished a true allied resource is you should be able to track 5 to 7 closings a year from that source. They should be giving you enough leads that you are closing 5 to 7 a year. Otherwise, they're not really a true allied resource. You haven't done the work to get them sending you referrals and going back and forth. So would you say that your mortgage guy is a true allied resource? What about your title rep? Why not? Why are they generally the ones that you can't end up being an allied resource? They have too many real estate agents that are trying to maintain relationships. Now, that doesn't mean they can't send you a deal once in a while, but you can't count on them for 5 to 7 a year. So you've got to move out of that. You're moving to...
Does it have to be somebody that's in business?
It does not.
I probably have, not very many, 2 or 3 that I do maybe 4 or 5 a year from.
Mm-hmm. And it's maybe your hairdresser or your tire guy or your attorney or your, insurance guy, whatever it is. That's right. When you get to true allied resources, they're not real estate related. They're another business person that you're going to say, I'm going to tell my clients about you and send them your way. Would you tell your clients about me and send them my way? And that's meeting once a week. We miss out on that a lot. Because they need to know that you're interested in their success as well. So maybe you're putting a booklet in their office, in their lobby, and you're putting a flyer from them in every closing packet. Or you're talking about it or whatever it is. You're doing something actively together to promote each other's business. Most of the time you've told each other your goals and you're looking to ways for help each other. Okay? So that's 5 to 7 closings. MREA says you should have 5 of these. 5 allied resources. So if you have 5 allied resources, let's say they average 6 closings, you have 5 of them. How many units is that already a year? 30. How many do we need to get to? 52. We're at 30 already.
I only had half-hour budget for this.
Nope. Are we almost in? Yeah. No, we'll move quick. So we were already at 30. The next circle that you move out is your MET group. They know you, you know them, right? So in that aspect, you're doing an 8x8 and a 33 touch. And that's an effective 8x8 and 33 touch, which means you're calling them once a quarter. You're sending them something. You're doing those kinds of things. You are doing the METs. They raise their hand and say, I'm interested. They 8 touches in 8 weeks. Or you're systematically going and doing this. Here's the 33 touch from the MREA. So that idea is, it's not just I call them every once in a while. I am literally figuring out and putting my money into that 33 touch. I am touching them systematically. Because if you do this, you should get a 12-to-2 response and closings. For every 12 people in your database, you should get 2 closings. The reason it's not 6-to-1, it's one is a referral of someone they know, and one is a direct buy or sell. So if we just need another, how many to get 52? 22? And we're at a 12-to-2 conversion. What's 22 divided by 6?
22 divided by 6.
It's going to be almost 40. Or it's
Right.
4.
6.
Oh, because it's 12-to-1. Oh, I'm divided by, multiplied by 6. Sorry about that. How many people in my database do I need to do?
It's 132 divided by 2.
No, it's 100. Well, I'll do 132 because this right here is what I need. I need 132 people in my database at a 12-to-2 conversion to get my other 22. That's all I need in my database. You don't need 600. The problem is you need more because you're not doing a good job on 33 touch. We're not focusing back on that sphere and going back and not losing a single deal. That's where the money is. Now, your next one you go out is the people I haven't met. I know who they are, but they don't know who I am. I send them something. I mail them something once a month until they go, oh, I've seen you enough. Now I want to know who you are. And they move into the met group. And the last one is your general public. They haven't met. You don't know who they are. They don't know you. This is billboards. This is Zillow. The targeted have not mets, that should be a 50-to-1. And that's more expensive because you're mailing them something every week. The have not mets general public is 100-to-1. People are moving out into these 2 categories and they're not focusing here. And that's why they're spending too much money and not getting the rate of return. We have to work a lot harder in those 2 circles. Okay? 8x8 and 33 touch, 12 direct. Lead gen ratios. Budget model. Last one, of course, is budget model. Lead with revenue, not expenses. You don't need to spend money. If you stick to those 2 inner circles, and if you don't have this, I mean, if you have this many people, you shouldn't be going outside that circle to get your 52 closings. Play red light, green light. If you spend money, you make sure there's a return, 100 or 100% plus 1. It's not an equal trade-off. And you have to track your time as a return as well as not just money spent. Zillow leads, it's not necessarily that you paid, you closed one and it paid for 6 months, but how much time did you spend running down leads that never turned into anything? You have to take that into account. And then stick to your budget. Have a budget and stick to it. These are your big factors in your budget model. Having the chart of accounts, tracking your revenue sources. And the last one's your organizational model. When you can do all you can do, hire an admin, hire help. Make sure you're always hiring talent and make sure you train the talent you hire. Otherwise, why would they say that's usually the failure of an organizational model? Is you hire someone and then they don't get trained well. So you've got to invest in those kinds of things. Okay, this is the general idea of getting through the organizational model. And the last one is the 192 tasks. There's 192 tasks in the MREA that should be done on each deal. You can go and find them in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. Download those. And you'll know, and it outlines who should be doing each task as you go through the organizational model. Okay. That's awesome. Thanks for coming. I hope you heard it. I don't know if you're on there, Bob. I hope you heard that quick presentation. We'll do it each week. I'll record it and do it a little slower next week.